Aguilar here with the Daily Aztec here with Paco Versailles. Now you guys just finished recently your set at Wonderfront. How do you guys feel playing in San Diego?
It was good. We loved playing in San Diego. It was beautiful. The weather is beautiful. Sound was good. So we're happy.
When you're typically playing the festival set, do you need to change your set at all when you have like longtime fans or people who never heard of you before? How does that typically work?
Yeah, you would think we would change it, but we don't actually. We do the same thing.
Is it just integrated like when you're doing a tour set
Yeah.
usually?
Yeah, it's just, our set is kind of nonstop dance party, one song after the other. So we kind of like let it ride.
Yeah. And when you have your music, how would you describe it to those who aren't really familiar with you?
Um, our music is a blend of different cultures. So there's the flamenco side of things, which is the Spanish kind of folkloric gypsy music from Andalusia, and then there's the French kind of house production from Versailles, like a lot of bands that Ryan is very influenced by, like Daft Punk and Air, who come from Versailles. So it's kind of like four on the floor meets a lot of syncopations
Mhm.
from the Spanish rhythms and the flamenco rhythms. Yeah.
And when you're having those styles meet traditional and a little bit more technical, how do you find a good middle ground between both of those and still be able to innovate musically and involve?
I think we each do what we feel very comfortable doing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And we come from different backgrounds. So when we're kind of just expressing ourselves naturally and we're doing it together, it kind of forms a sound on its own, to be honest with you. And we try not to get in each other's way, and we try not to kind of think too hard about where it's going and try to feel it out. And every time we get together and work, something happens. Yeah.
And with those styles, those vary a little bit. How did you come to even find wanting to do flamenco style music? And was there any kind of personal connection with that?
Well, yeah, Vahagni comes from a flamenco background. He studied in Sevilla and, you know, has is very well versed in the flamenco world.
Sure.
My connection with it, I lived in Spain when I was 12 years old for a year. So I went to a lot of Spanish festivals. So I've always been very enamored by the richness of Spanish culture. So it was kind of natural for us. And then we became friends and we thought it'd be cool to mix the Spanish music, but with something more modern, kind of dancey, poppy.
And when you're in LA, how do you keep yourself always like finding new music to listen to and always trying to innovate?
In Los Angeles, I think it's just listening to different music and getting inspired by traveling, taking breaks, getting out in nature, visiting new cities, and that kind of stuff will actually reset your brain and get you excited about making new music.
I think maybe this is a little bit of a personification a little bit, but with a lot of the genres that you guys kind of tend to want to vibe with and play to a lot of people, I think fans and people who attend your concerts might think it sounds very, it's groovy, it's a lot of big dance culture. Um, does it get more intricate than that to a lot of people because you see people dancing and they think more it's just to vibe to and dance to? But does that genre of music you guys play into get a little bit typical?
Stereotypical?
The genre of dance music.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think the thing with Paco is that it's kind of like a mixture of many things, and dance is a big component of that. But I wouldn't say it's very typical to just going out and seeing a different like dance related show regarding that genre. I think ours is like a blend of a lot of live things that are happening on stage, and that brings out a lot of spontaneity.
Mhm.
So every time we play, for example, like me and the drummer might do a lot of things together that's just improvised rhythmically because we're just kind of going off what the other person's doing, and a lot of things
Yeah.
happen on stage that aren't planned. So I think in that sense it's very different from your quintessential like dance music show. There's room for a lot of human creation on stage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, and with the recent album and songs like Casa Malago and Little Stranger, you differ between different moods. How are you able to find a good balance in the album between that when you're having a variation between different moods in the music?
Well, I think we just naturally, when we're making music, we kind of go where the gods take us. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we write a slower song, sometimes we write a faster song. So we're not trying to just repeat the same dance manco thing every single time. So
Yeah.
sometimes we write more, I guess it would be more of a traditional song. Like we sit down with the guitar and the voice and then work on the production. And then sometimes it's like we have a cool beat and we're like, oh, we want to do something repetitive and dancey. And so there's a lot of variety. We tend to not repeat the exact thing over and over.
And we're here representing San Diego State for the paper. And there's a lot of college students that it's a big town for local music and
Yeah.
for those rising up. How that incorporate your upbringing for music, and when you guys were in school or kind of starting up young,
Mm.
how were you involved with just the local community of music itself and starting up?
Well, I think we both have like evolved a lot over the years. I mean, when I started playing music in high school, it was like a blues cover band, and then I started doing singer-songwriter stuff, and then I had an '80s cover band
Yeah.
that played all the '80s hits, and I became obsessed with that type of dance. Those big songs and what it's like to perform something that's like a hit song and it feels dancey and exciting. So that kind of influenced me to want to write something more poppy, more dancey, and just have had different projects over the years, different evolutions.
Yeah, well, for me, I my father was a professional guitarist, so I kind of like grew up in that environment, and it was never really something I discovered. It was more like something that was always there.
Yeah.
But living in Los Angeles, I discovered a lot of other types of music, and that's a really cool place to be for that because there's so much culture in LA. So it's very easy to get into Latin music or jazz or rock or whatever. There's kind of like a little hub for everything. So growing up in LA and just being a part of a musical family for me was, how it all happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And how important is this type of music in today's industry in terms of music and what people need?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, people like to hear things that feel fresh and new. I think people like things that are familiar in a sense. They can wrap their head around it because maybe it follows a traditional harmonic structure or has lyrics they can rap onto, melodies they can wrap themselves around, but having that element of surprise and something that's different. And so that's with this project, that's what we're trying to do and I think the thing that differentiates it is the use of the Spanish guitar, the acoustic guitar being a driving force in dance music. That's something that I think, and also just the way Vahagni harmonizes things, the way he comes up the guitar lines, it's pretty, you don't hear of a lot of that in pop music. So I think it's really important to just try to do something that's somewhat unique. And that's what people crave.
And my final question for you both is, what's an aspect of being an artist in today's world that a lot of people might not understand?
Wow. It's a difficult question. Um, I think maybe, I don't know if this is something they won't understand, but maybe sometimes I think that people think it's very much similar to what a hobby is, except you just get paid, doing it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's actually like a 9 to 5. It's something that you have to really work on every day and show up. And it's work. It's not, it's no different. So sometimes my friends say, like, oh, you're so lucky, you don't have a job. And it's like, no, it's a job. You have to work a lot at it because it's really hard to just pull shit out of thin air and write music, that you have to be there and you have to work at it. And that's the only thing that really makes it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. One more question just about that. When you're balancing creating music, is an aspect of creating social media and promoting the music, does that ever interfere too much into what you have to do as a job, as you mentioned?
Well, I think the whole digital world interferes with everything about music, frankly. I think it sucks away your creative energy, sucks away your mental energy. I think people, if you don't get a handle on it, if you get too absorbed with it, your music is going to suffer. But unfortunately, it's a kind of a necessary evil, and it can be a driver. It can be a marketing driver. So we're always struggling with it. We're trying to focus on the music, but there is a time and place where you have to kind of suck it up and make some interesting video content, because that's part of the storytelling aspect of music, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you tell the story of the song in a richer way to get people to connect with it? And sometimes that requires making content, telling little stories.
Is there anything else either of you like to add?
We have a new song coming out at the end of this month, actually, on, what's the date? May 30th. May 30th. We have a new song from, I don't want to say a new album, because right now we're kind of going back to our roots of just making stuff and putting it out and not overthinking it and enjoying the process. And just, if something feels good and it feels done, let's get it out. Let's just keep on putting music out, feeding the beast, and stay inspired, and not try to have this grandiose plan, or like, we got to work towards this album and then it's an album release. Like, no, let's just put out songs, and hopefully the world will, one of them is going to take off, or the collection of them is going to reach a critical mass. So that's, right now, that's what we're doing. But we have a song coming out called Product of Your Time on May 30th. So check it out.
Great.
It's very different, by the way. It's not your typical Paco song, but it's we're very proud of it.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Nice to meet you.